All right, it's Tuesday, April 2nd, and this is the Janak News Network. I own the network, that's why it's called that. Today on the Janak News Network, we have one big story by Miss Loop's homeroom. But when I opened it, it actually turned out that it was three smaller stories. So instead of one big story, we have three smaller stories by Miss Loop's homeroom. Okay, the first story. Once upon a time, there was a criminal who escaped jail. It was a male. He was 5 feet tall. The police would never find him because he was camouflaged. Then one night, it was a cold night, so the man made a campfire in the forest. He knew the police would see the smoke somehow. He hid as soon as he heard sirens, then the red and blue, and he was obviously camouflaged and couldn't be seen and escaped successfully with a big smirk on his face. 1 year later, he was planning to rob a bank. Once he got the plan down, he busted into the bank and got tackled by a security guard. It didn't even take 1 second to realize who he was. He got put back in jail for life. In jail, it was hard for him since he was just a wimp. He was polite, though. That's nice. He wanted to get on the cops' good side. After the second year, he got on probation. Then the quietness got to him, and he went crazy. He got off probation and went to an insane asylum. He's been there ever since. While there, he met a guy named Fuzzyfoot, and he loved pink bunnies. He looked like Ralphie from Christmas Story, dressed up in a big pink bunny suit. He would steal everybody's carrots at lunchtime. The guys got along good, and everybody else left him alone. Until one day, Big Betty B was put in the insane asylum with Fuzzyfoot and the criminal. He was very annoying and would not take his medicine. Unfortunately, when he didn't take his meds, he would break all their stuff and jump on their beds. This made Fuzzyfoot and the criminal really mad. That's story one. Here's the second shorter story from Miss Loop's homeroom. Once upon a time, there was a happy person that was rich and never left their house. But finally, 5 months later, he got a breath of fresh air. And he liked it, so now he wanted to go out of the house every day. So he decided to go out every day. And when he went out today, he had no money. And then he ran to the bank and grabbed some money. But when he tried to get some money, it said he had no money in his account. He had to get to the bottom of this. He went back home, grabbed his credit cards, took them to the bank, but those were empty too. How could he afford clothes and food? He talked to his lawyer about this, and he said the guy that took your $200 million was found, and all of his money was back safe. That was story two. And the third and final story from Miss Loop's homeroom. Once upon a time, there was a girl named Melanie. She played softball, but then this virus outbreak happened. Because of the outbreak, her coach was concerned that maybe they would get the outbreak since they had to share dugouts. So he canceled all of their games and practices. Melanie was very devastated since she couldn't play, but of course she understood what was happening. So when she went home from her last practice, she looked up facts about the outbreak. She found out that the name of this outbreak was called the coronavirus. She learned all of the symptoms and ways to not get it, so there was nothing she could do about it besides stand there and watch and protect her family at all costs. She also found out that nobody else was taking it seriously. She could not believe her eyes. Everybody was posting memes saying how happy they are because they could take a break from sports and school, and all she thought about was, what about your education? And what about your teams? She could not believe the things people were saying when the outbreak went away. And Melanie was so happy to go back to school and her team. When she got to school, she thought there was no time to waste. I need to get education back in, she thought. She thought the same when she was able to start playing the sports, which is softball. She has been playing softball since she was 3. She is now 11. I would know this because I am Melanie. Big twist there at the end. So that was supposed to be one big story by Miss Loop's homeroom, but that is actually 3 smaller stories by Miss Loop's homeroom. The last one comes tomorrow on the Janak News Network.